Okay, children. Good morning, everyone. So today we are going to begin with Union Executive chapter. Just now, Farazin was discussing with me, sir, we have not done the short questions of the previous chapter. So till 9 o'clock, I'll be doing Union Executive. And from 9 o'clock, we'll be doing short questions, okay, of the previous chapter so that it can help you in the upcoming test. And on 23rd, you have your revision test. So you should all prepare yourself with the revision also. Okay. So in the previous chapter, we read about the making up of the laws. Now, how the laws are made and what all government bodies involved in making the laws. We read about the Lok Sabha and the Raj Sabha. We talk about passing of the bill. Okay, the ordinary bill, the money bill, the budget, all these things were actually the lawmaking process. But who executes it? So in this chapter, we are going to learn about the execution. So number one thing is, what is executive? Now, what is executive? See, it's given in your book also. If you open on the first page of the chapter, you would find it on the very first paragraph. It says that branch of government which implement laws. You can say that branch of government which implement laws. Okay, which implement laws made by legislature.
Union legislature.
Now, who all are in the process? We have the implementation of law is done in two processes. The first process is the president, and the second process goes to the prime minister. Right now, generally, if we see in reality, the first process goes with the prime minister, then it goes to the president. But president is actually the head of the executive. Okay, so what would be the law is done by the prime minister, and when the president signs it, if you remember the passing of the bill, until and unless president signs the bill, it will never become an act or a law. Okay, if a president signs it, the bill becomes a law. If the president does not sign it, it remains a bill. So these two people are involved. The prime minister frames the law, they frames the proposals, they frames the clauses and everything. It is the president who actually signs it, and by signing it, it makes it a law. And when it becomes a law, it is the prime minister and his council of ministers implement it through the lower level of ministers, and those ministers through the civil servants like the district magistrates, the IAS officers, the IPS officers. So this is the whole hierarchical process, if you see that, right? So in this chapter, executive, we are first going to learn about the president of India. So who is the president of India at present?
Mr. Ramnath Kovind.
Sri Ram Nath Kovind, right?
Kovind.
Right. Now, the president is also known as the first citizen of India. Okay, and he is the nominal head. He is nominal head of executive. Now, in your book, it is mentioned that he is the nominal head and prime minister is the real executive head. Now, why it is so? See, president is a nominal head because president has to act according to the prime minister and the council of ministers. Whatever bill they decide, okay, whatever bill they decide has to, the president has to follow it. Okay, so this is the reason why it is known as a nominal head. Now, suppose if there is a case where a prime minister and a council of ministers, they framed a bill. Okay, now that bill was passed by the Lok Sabha or the parliament. Say Raj Sabha and Lok Sabha both have come to the conclusion that this bill is passed. Now that bill goes to the president, and president has to give his consent. Means how he will give the consent? When he signs the bill, right? That is the general process. But the president feels that whatever things have been incorporated or included in the bill needs certain changes, what he can do is he can return the bill for the first time and he can give some considerations, some advices that should be considered. Now, the bill comes back to the parliament. Now, it is the duty of the parliament that whatever considerations, whatever changes president has said should be taken into consideration, only consideration, but they are not bound to follow them. They are not bound to follow. If they feel that whatever president has advised them can be included, they will do it. Or if they want that we don't want to take up that consideration, we cannot we do not understand the thought process of the president why he did it, they can send the same bill again, means without any changes. President has returned it to make some changes, and if they return the bill back to the president without any changes, now in this situation president is bound to sign the bill and make it a law. So if you see this, in this whole process, president is working according to whom? President is working according to whom? Yeah, exactly.
Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. So this is the reason why he is the nominal head. Is that clear? So coming up to the next thing, that on the qualifications. First of all, can we make any a president of India from any other country? No. That means the person should be of
Citizen of India.
should be a citizen of India. Then what should be the age?
35 years complete.
35 years. And then it says that should have the qualification, should have the qualification.
So like the exams and all.
No. Qualification to be a member of Lok Sabha. That means he should have all the qualifications to be a member of Lok Sabha also. Okay, if he means all the qualifications necessary to be a member of Lok Sabha. So whatever qualifications that we read about Lok Sabha to become a member of Lok Sabha are also applicable in case of the president. And at last, it says that office of profit. If you remember that we discussed this. Now, if I'm putting across that a person should not have the office of profit, means the person cannot hold two posts at the same time, two government posts at the same time. Is that clear? We have one exception. What was that exception? Can anybody tell me? What was the exception we read in the previous chapter? A person holding two posts at a time. What was it?
President.
Exactly.
Vice President.
And vice president gets the salary of
Co-executive chairman.
As a vice president or the chairman of Rajya Sabha?
Chairman.
Yeah, exactly.
Chairman
He
of
gets the
Rajya Sabha.
salary for being the chairman of Rajya Sabha, not as the vice president. Okay. Now coming to the election procedure. How the president is elected. So the president is elected by an body which is known as
Electoral college.
Electoral College. Now this Electoral College has certain members. Now these Electoral College has members of both the houses,
Parliament.
both the houses of parliament. Okay. Both the houses of parliament, right? It has both the houses, members of both the houses of parliament, members of state legislative assemblies, members of state legislative assemblies. Are you getting that? Now it says, if you see that the elected members of both the houses of parliament, children, one keyword that I have missed here is elected. Same here, elected. The word elected is very, very important. Okay, the word elected is very, very important. So you should, in your answer, you should write this: elected members. And elected members of the legislative assemblies and elected members of legislative assemblies. So and the third thing is elected members of
Ball,
legislative
legislative assemblies,
assemblies of
union territories like Delhi and
UTs
Puducherry.
like Delhi and Puducherry. Union territories of Delhi and Puducherry. So these are this is an electoral college which elects the president, and these are the members. So you should know the members. In case of vice president, we have only the elected members of the house of the both the houses of the parliament. The second and the third category is not there in the electoral college of vice president, but in the electoral college. So what is an electoral college? Electoral college is a group of people. It's a body of people which elects the president. And who all makes the electoral college? These three categories: members of the elected members of the both the houses of the parliament, elected members of the state legislative assemblies, and elected members of the assemblies of UTs, that is Delhi and Puducherry. Is that clear? Coming up to the term of office. The term of office number 1 is 5 years. The president can resign also.
Real.
Yeah, the president can resign also. Okay. And third one,
He can be re-elected also.
he can be re-elected also. But that's not part of the term of the office. The term of the office is 5 years, or if he feels he can be, he can resign. And the fourth and the most important thing is removal. A president can be removed by the process of, what is the process known as?
Impeachment.
Impeachment. Is that clear? So this is the removal of the president. So president can be removed from before the expiry of its term. Now, when a president can be removed, see, it is given in the book. When a president can be removed, impeachment is when? When? So answer is on
Violation of laws.
violating the constitution. Okay, violating the constitution. Is that clear, children? So by the process of impeachment, president can be removed. In class 10th, we'll read about the impeachment procedure on violating the constitution. Generally, no president has been removed, and for that we need how much majority from that house? Means 2/3. See, it happens. It is the process goes by two methods. Suppose Lok Sabha feels that president has violated the constitution, right? Now, in that situation, the Lok Sabha will do everything. They will do the investigation thing. They will find out whether it is actually correct that the president has violated the constitution or not. Now, in order to pass it, 2/3 of the majority is required. So the members who are there in the Lok Sabha, it should be passed by 2/3 majority. Now, the process goes to Raj Sabha, and the whole procedure is done again, means the investigation and everything. And then from there also it should be passed by 2/3 majority. When this happens in both the houses, when this impeachment procedure is passed by both the houses, then only the president can be removed. So you should underline this part also. The president can be removed from his office for the violation of constitution by the process of impeachment. So if the question comes, what is impeachment? You should know. The resolution to pass the resolution to impeach may be moved in any of the houses and has to pass by 2/3 of the majority. So 2/3 of the members. So if there are 550 members, take out, if you calculate 2/3, then how much? Calculate it. What should be the strength that should agree to remove the president?
Ma'am, sir, around 110.
So
110 into 2, it's 220 around something.
okay, exactly. Okay. So let us come to the salaries, allowances, and privileges. That's simple thing that's given in your book also. You can understand it. Under the law, they get every facility and all these things. That's simple thing. Now let's come to the next very important thing. That is I think it's 9. It's 9. Let's finish off the powers of the president. We'll do the executive powers and then we'll proceed with the question and answers. Okay. So what are the powers of the president? The first powers that we are going to read it, you can underline, keep on underlining in the book, is the executive powers. Now, we all know he is the executive head of the government, okay, because until and unless president signs, a bill will never become a law. Then, talking about the appointments, the president appoints the prime minister and the council of ministers. Now, these council of ministers are appointed by president only, but who gives them the advice? The prime minister. So the prime minister is appointed by president, and the council of ministers are also appointed by president, but on the advice of prime minister. Is that clear? Then other officials, the Attorney General of India, the Chief Justice of High Court and Supreme Court, the Election Commissioner, the members of UPSC, Union Public Service Commission, governors of the states, they all are actually appointed by the president. And if you see the last point, it says that they can be removed also. Also removal, they can be removed also. Then the third executive power of the president is the administration of union territories. We have union territories in India. All these union territories are under the administration of the president. That means the president is the supervisor of all these. He manages the affairs of these union territories. Is that clear? Okay. Then let's come to the military powers. Now, military powers, the first one is Chief Commander of the Armed Forces. President has been conferred the title and the post of the Chief Commander of the Armed Forces. He is the highest most authority in the armed forces. Then he appoints the Chief of Army, Navy and Air Force. The most senior most officers of the Army, Navy and Air Force are appointed by the President of India. And the last executive power is military power is he can declare war and make peace treaties. Now, all these declaration and making peace treaties is always done on the advice of the president, on the prime minister and the council of ministers. And because as we have read that he's the nominal head, he works on the advice of the prime minister and the council of ministers. So we keep this topic till here today. In the next period, we'll finish off the powers of the president, the remaining powers of the president, and we'll start with the prime minister. So for now, we come back to the question and answer. So I will be recording 2 videos. This video is only for union legislature. Okay? Sorry, union executive, not legislature. Legislature we have done. Now we'll begin with the question and answers of union legislature. Let's do some short questions.